Hey, what's up out there, guys? I hope all is well with you today. This is my review of The Midnight Sky. It's coming to Netflix on December 23rd. It's based on the novel Good Morning Midnight by Lily Brooks Dalton. This adaptation is directed by George Clooney, who also headlines a cast that features Felicity Jones, David Oyelowo, Demian Bichir, and Kyle Chandler. So let's dive into this sci-fi adventure to see what it delivers.
Observatory, are you receiving this?
Anyone out there?
This is a post-apocalyptic story that centers on Augustine, played by Clooney. He's been left behind at a research outpost in the Antarctic after a global catastrophe has ravaged the planet, and as his time ticks away, he desperately tries to contact a team of astronauts that have been on a mission so he can let them know not to return. Now, so far, it's kind of looking like I enjoyed this movie more than a lot of the other critics did, so let's jump into the positives for me. I think you need to begin with George Clooney, both on the acting side and behind the camera as director. His direction was visually stunning, and with immaculate cinematography from Martin Rue, the movie overall is just beautifully crafted. The exterior shots are wide sweeping and immersive, the interior shots are cool and crisp, and I think it results in a visual elegance that fit the mood of the plot perfectly. On the acting side, I think Clooney was equally as impressive. His character in the writing department was a little bit thin, and we'll get into that later, but despite that, I think Clooney still poured himself into this role to capture a raw vulnerability that can really connect to the heartstrings while you watch. You certainly are left wanting to know more about this man, but what Clooney does provide, I felt, heightened the material to create a compelling and thought-provoking character. Another positive for me was the storyline as a whole. I think it was a little bit of a mixed bag in sections. We'll get into some of the drawbacks I felt the writing had in a second. However, I think what is here is more than enough to weave an intriguing science fiction odyssey with strong elements of appealing fantasy and gripping moments of emotional intensity. Because I was certainly curious and engaged throughout, the story and its progression did keep my interest. I liked the characters and their rapport with one another. It had me thinking outside of the story that was being told, and it left me feeling satisfied. I also enjoyed the balance between Clooney's character on Earth and the group of astronauts out in space. Each had their own tone and moody atmosphere, and I thought the balancing between these scenarios kept the pace of the movie moving along nicely. As for the drawbacks, now I haven't read this book, so I can't compare the two.
He's a great writer.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever read anything by him?
No, you?
Nah.
But I did feel Clooney's character of Augustine was a bit underdeveloped. You certainly can still build a bit of a connection to this character, but I think it would have had much more of a visceral connection to the viewer had we known more about this man and what drove him. There are moments, quite a few of them actually, where I felt like I was watching Clooney being Clooney, and don't get me wrong, he was dramatically intense and he delivers a very intimate performance, but it was also one that was undercut a little bit by a lack of substance. This kept it from being a true character performance. It doesn't allow him to disappear into the role like he could have had the writing just showed more layers to his personality and his life prior to where we meet him. I also felt the backstory that we did get in the form of these flashbacks were a bit patchy, and instead of helping us get to know this man, these scenes really just feel choppy and they slightly hinder the flow of the overall narrative. And the thin character development also reached out into space, as this collection of astronauts did feel a little bit on the side of formulaic in terms of just character dynamics and personality types. These characters are undeniably boosted by great performances. The chemistry between the cast and their screen presence do help a lot, but despite that, there wasn't much to know about them outside of a couple references through the dialogue here and there, which was kind of a miss for me. It wasn't able to let me get to know these characters like I wanted to. Regardless of that though, I enjoyed this movie. The Midnight Sky is going to get a solid 80% on the meter. I don't think the shortcomings on the writing side keep it from being considered an entertaining movie. It may hinder it from being regarded as a great film, but it's still very visually polished. It can take the viewer on a tension-filled ride that's fueled with emotional suspense and turmoil, and it can provide that escape people are looking for when going into a movie like this. Now for today's My Silver Screen recommendations, I picked 3 other science fiction flicks that all revolve around space travel. I picked the recent Ad Astra starring Brad Pitt. Some didn't like this movie, but I thought it was unique and very engaging. Next, I selected The Last Days on Mars starring Liev Schreiber. It's an underrated movie that I thought was nicely crafted overall. And finally, I selected Mission to Mars starring Tim Robbins and Gary Sinise. It's a little dated, but still a quality viewing for science fiction fans. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk movies with you guys. Share it with your friends, and without question, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can never miss a video. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. All my social media links and the link to our official website are down in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.